Are you ready?
Ready.
All right, let's go. Kevin here, top 1 financial advisor and best-selling author. We are here to talk about the stock market. Sorry, I hate to be that guy, but I think we are in an AI bubble, and I've got history on my side to prove it. So in this video, we need to break down what in the world are we going through with AI and why do I think we are in an AI bubble. All right, so I've been doing this for 13 years, which means I've been around long enough to see a bubble and what happens before, during, and after. And to lay out the case, let's start at the year 2000. Y'all remember that dot-com bubble? What exactly happened back then other than the fact that between 2000 and 2002, stocks like Amazon fell 98.7%. That's bad. That's real bad. But if you go back during that time, you'll notice that during earnings calls and even at some of the companies' websites, they were changing their brand and just saying we were high-tech companies. Even companies that weren't necessarily in the tech space, just throwing out, hey, tech this, tech that, technology, we've launched a new website, doing all these things to really kind of capitalize on what everybody was feeling and doing at the time and trying to get their share prices as high as humanly possible. And investors, individual investors, bought it up. Anything that was like, oh, this is a brand new tech, this is a brand new website, they're going to do all these things, buy it. And those stocks started to soar until we started to realize, like, wait a minute, you don't have anything to do with tech at all. And that's when everything started to fall. We're in a very similar scenario right now with AI, but we've had very recent examples. Think of the stay-at-home play during the pandemic, where everybody was just buying stay-at-home stocks. You had Zoom, you had Peloton. Where are those companies now? Right? Yes, they still exist, but where are those stocks right now? We just talked about Peloton the other day, and they're down, 40-something% in the last year, and they went from $150 or so per share and are less than $8 a share right now. These things are happening right now. Remember NFTs, non-fungible tokens, that nobody is talking about anymore. It was a new technology or a new application or something that was a bit older, and everybody was talking about it. In fact, remember Block, which was Square, right? They used to be the payment company, and they still are. They renamed themselves Block because they wanted to be all about the blockchain that everybody used to talk about, Web3. Everybody used to talk about. Nowhere anymore. But in fact, they went and bought Tidal. They bought Tidal because they thought they were going to capitalize on NFTs. That didn't really come to fruition in the way that we thought, and the stock is still down since then. Think about the metaverse. Y'all remember that? When that was supposed to be a brand new technology, and you had companies like CVS buying land in the metaverse. You had people paying millions of dollars to live next door to virtual Snoop Dogg, and have real estate in the metaverse. Facebook changed its name to Meta and spent, what was it, $80 million or 80 billion, some ridiculous number on trying to build out something for the metaverse and completely abandoned it to jump now to AI. Remember crypto, okay? We saw what happened with the crypto bubble with FTX and BlockFi and all of those. But even in crypto, both in 2017 and what we saw last year, anything involving crypto started to rise in value. We talked about Morgan Stanley looking at implementing it in some ways. Goldman Sachs was going to use it and allow clients to buy it. El Salvador made it its official currency. And this is not to say that any of these assets will no longer exist. Amazon still exists. Bitcoin still exists. Block still exists, right? All these things are still alive, barely, but they're still here. And obviously, we've talked about crypto. It's doing well right now. But this is the pattern that we always see. It's something, a new technology or a new application of a technology that we haven't seen before. Everybody gets hyped on it, everybody starts to talk about it, and then it starts to fall apart. Now, companies like NVIDIA, Microsoft, Micron, Alphabet, aka Google, those companies, obviously they're in the tech space. It makes sense for them to talk about AI as much as they want, and some of them have been talking about it for years now. That I don't have a problem with. What I do have a problem with is when I start to see companies that aren't AI related. Example, Wendy's. The CEO of Wendy's came out and said, we are using AI and we're using it as the virtual assistant when you pull up to the driveway, you order your sandwich or whatever, and you will never know whether it's AI or it's a real person. Here's my thing. What difference does it make? Honestly, what difference does it make? Because I don't see that person anyway. The person who like does the voiceover for the order is not the same person that you give your credit card to, and it's not the same person that you pick it up from. It could be a disembodied voice for all I know. I will never see that person. It does not matter that should have, it shouldn't have mattered that that was going to be a headline. And what we are seeing now, whether it's CEOs or investors or people on TV, throwing out AI and attaching it to every single thing just to get your attention, even though Wendy's is not an AI company. That's not to say that Walmart, who's announcing earnings here pretty soon, doesn't use AI or that no company can use it. You certainly can. But the issue here is when you start to rebrand yourself and make things into different areas and different styles that is not actually there. Tesla did this, and Tesla's a fine company, but Tesla did this and rebranded its entire company as a tech company. Now you might be thinking, well, yeah, they've got, you know, AI in their cars, right? Or you could say that because of the flat screens and the chips that we use, that it's a technology company. That's fair, but if you do that, if you qualify Tesla as strictly a tech company, which had benefited it. I think that's one of the reasons why Tesla shares had done so well, because they rebranded themselves as a tech company. But if Tesla is a tech company, then so too is Ford and Chrysler and GM and Toyota, Mercedes-Benz. Every car company is a tech company. And if those are tech companies, then so too is Boeing. They make airplanes. Are those not more advanced than cars? That is also a tech company. And here we go, right? So you start lumping in things that may or may not be in tech, and it starts to expand beyond the realm of reality, right? And if I start to expand this long enough, is Wendy's a tech company now because they have an app? Or is it just a restaurant that happens to use technologies in different ways? And you start to see where I'm getting at here. We just keep attaching those two letters to everything, and that is something that at some point is going to tip over. What's another tail sign that this is going to be a bubble at some point, very soon if you ask me? Once you start seeing a bunch of influencers, call it what you want, do workshops that go from point to point to point, and they didn't have expertise in those areas either. So the same people who are doing NFT workshops, we're doing crypto workshops, we're doing stay-at-home stock workshops, are now doing AI workshops. You are not an expert in all those fields, okay? You're just not. Right? Some of these fields don't have experts yet because they haven't been around long enough. Like NFTs, the study of NFTs has not been around for 15 years for you to have studied, or even a decade for you to have studied to understand the field well enough to teach it competently. It's not, right? It's just, I'm sorry, it's just not. It was basically made up yesterday and it absolutely fell and collapsed last year, right? Or even, a year and a half ago now. So that's the thing. This AI bubble is going to be here. What you have to do as an investor is separate what is fact from fiction and what is hype and what is not. The companies I mentioned earlier, the ones who are actually in the tech space, like NVIDIA, Microsoft, so on and so forth, I think those are going to be fine. Now, would they fall and could they fall in the exact same way as some of these others that aren't as savvy? Then we'll see, right? We'll absolutely see. Another company that's not necessarily AI company or not a tech company in my eyes, Visa, MasterCard, a lot of these credit card companies, American Express, all using AI, right? Y'all are finance companies. Now, is tech involved in your process? Yes, but y'all are finance credit card companies. You're not AI companies. Can you use it? Yes. But again, once you start lumping yourself in there, those stocks start to rise, but not for the right reasons, right? It's just because you said those two letters, you said those two words, artificial intelligence. And history has shown us time and time again, that's when things start to fall apart. The last thing I'm gonna say about it as well, even in the case of Visa, we did a video not too long ago, actually last year, maybe a year and a half ago, we talked about Visa also in the NFT space. We talked about Visa also in the crypto space. Visa's just hopping on to all of these things to get attention and value to the stock. That's not to say that Visa's not a good company. Visa can be fine. Not on my list to buy, but it could be fine. The issue is just putting yourself out there just for the sake of garnering attention. And that's not a good way to provide value. And if you can't provide value, you're not going to provide returns in most cases for investors, especially not reliable returns. And that's what I want you to be concerned about and be able to separate the hype from the reality. All right, that is it for me. I will talk to y'all tomorrow. Before I do, make sure you check out our members only, because I dropped 5 additional undervalued stocks and none of them not a one was in AI, but those companies are doing quite well, including the secret stock that I dropped. Those are posts, so not videos, but they're insider members only, including one though, over the last year's up 111%. And it's in the S&P 500, so it's not a penny stock. Okay, it is in the S&P 500. You have heard of this company, but I guarantee you it is not on the top of your mind. All right, that is it for me. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.